Hi guys, Corey Davis here. I'm one of your Hyrox coaches. I'm trying to get you ready for a race. A Hyrox race is 8 rounds of a 1,000-meter run paired with some sort of fitness event. Event number 1 is the ski erg, and today we're going to go over the technique, the pacing, the strategy, as well as some substitutions if you don't have a ski erg at your disposal. First, let's talk about technique on that ski erg. The first thing we need to take care of is we want to get up onto our toes and reach high. A lot of the energy from the ski erg comes from that beginning of the pull, so we want to make sure we take advantage of that and reach up really high to start the movement. Then we're going to engage our lats. That'll make sure that as we start dropping our body weight into the machine, that our body weight actually helps move that flywheel, helps move that ergometer. So we want to make sure that our body weight's actually getting involved. Then at that point, it is a hinge, a crunch, and a little bit of a pull down simultaneously. That way we can make sure that we're putting an efficient energy into the handles. At the bottom, we're just gonna flick our elbows and then we're gonna come straight back up. We're not gonna waste time and energy sending our arms out wide in a big butterfly motion. Finally, because the top is what matters the most, we're gonna make sure we don't waste a lot of time at the bottom of the motion. Remember, we're gonna finish with a little flick. We're not gonna try to bottom out the machine. That is both super inefficient and extra tiring, and we don't wanna do it. Now let's talk about pacing. This is the first event you're gonna get to in your race, so it might be tempting to come out hot, but don't. You will only wreck yourself for later on in the race. Instead, if you're solo, do about your 5K on the erg pace. Or if you're doing a doubles race, you can drop that down to about your 1K pace. But don't try to set a PR on your 100-meter sprint during this event. That would not be the best idea for the other 7 events you have coming later. Now let's talk about strategy. Like we talked about in the pacing section, this event does come first, so it's tempting to come out fast, but that would be a big mistake. You're not gonna win your race in the first event, but you could definitely lose it if you wreck yourself for everything else. Now, from a strategy standpoint, we want to make sure that we have that damper up high so we can keep our stroke rate lower. And we also want to make sure that we don't tire out our legs by squatting down. 1, squatting is actually bad technique on the ski erg. And 2, you're going to need your legs for every other event. Instead, stick to that hinge, lat pull down crunch motion that we talked about. If you're taking this on as a doubles partner, I would recommend trading off more frequently than you would with other events. The ski erg does not take a long time to transition between partner 1 and partner 2. I think the easiest thing to do would be to have each of you do 4 125-meter sprints on the machine. Keep in mind, when I say sprint, I mean about your 1K pace. If you'd like to go a little bit longer and you feel a little bit more comfortable on the machine, I'd have each partner do a 150-meter, each partner do a 150-meter, and then finish out with each partner doing 200 meters each, so you're on the machine a little bit longer and you can minimize those transitions. I don't think you need to go any longer than that, as the transition, once again, doesn't take very long, so you're not losing much there. Now let's talk training substitutions. Obviously, and this goes for every event, the ski erg is the best way to prepare for the ski erg. But if you don't have access to that, a rowing machine is a really good substitute. It'll give you a very similar feeling and you'll get comfortable with the mechanics of working with a flywheel. Outside of that, if you'd like to prep a little bit more specifically, a ball slam is a really good variation you could use that will help teach you that sort of big slamming down motion you need to do well in the ski erg. If as you do your training, you feel like your core is really a weak point and you notice it on the ski erg, any sort of core training would be really beneficial for you. 2 of my favorites that I think will have the most carryover to the ski erg would be a suspension pike or an ab wheel rollout. Give those a try. Put all these tips together and you'll be ready for your first Hyrox race, just like me.